Jagradav. Jai Masters. Yoga has come to the West, but not all of it came properly. Pretty much people see yoga as the asanas, the body postures, the pranayama, stuff like that, which is part of yoga. It is not the essence of yoga. You don't have to get mystical. It's just an understanding that you have inside of you energy. You know that. Sometimes you feel high. Sometimes you feel depressed. You go through different experiences of your energy system. I don't want to get into science as to what this is. I want to go in, what do you care? I care about how you feel. I care about the experience you're having. You know that sometimes it's high in there, energetically. You have lots of energy, you're enthused, you can't even hold yourself down, you're ready to take it on. And sometimes you can't even get out of bed. And you've been around the block enough to know it ain't the food you ate. You could eat the same food. The example I use in the book is you just had a wonderful meal, you're lethargic, you're tired. Then all of a sudden someone you love shows up at the door. You're not tired anymore. That food must have kicked in. It got some extra energy or something. No. I'm not telling you don't get energy from your food. Of course you get energy from your food. But that's not the only energy going on in there. You have emotions, you have thoughts, and you have energy inside. Yoga, all of yoga, is about that energy. That's all it's about. It's not about defining it, proving it. It's about saying, you know it's in there. How would you like to have some more? Oh, well, that's interesting. Because you're going to find out that every single thing you do, every moment of your life, is to try and get energy. That's why when you're in the presence of somebody and it makes you feel filled with love and energy, you say, I love you. And if they do something you don't like, you say, I don't love you anymore. Well, then you didn't very much love the person. You love the experience you're having in the presence of the person. You don't love something. You love the effect that that has on you. If it causes you to feel up, if it causes you to feel uplifted, if it causes you to feel love, if it causes you to feel energy, shakti, chi, spirit, I don't know what you want to call it. Those are just different names for the energy I'm talking about. If that energy is flowing inside of you, you want to be around that person, don't you? You like this energy, period. When you put on clothes and you're trying to buy clothes, you go in there and there's a 15-sided mirror, you know what I'm talking about, and you put these clothes on. I'm going to tell you, you can tell whether they fit while you're in the dressing room. And they either fit or they don't. That mirror has nothing to do with whether they fit. You put them on, then you get on that little platform, and you turn yourself around, and you look in the mirrors, and what makes you decide whether it makes you feel energetic or not? If it opens you, and you feel good, and you feel uplifted, oh, I like this. If it makes you feel yicky, I ain't buying this. It's not the garment. It's how it makes you feel. What does it mean, how it makes you feel? What is your energetic level? When you try to decide your future, where should I live? What should my career be? What should I do? You're trying to use thoughts the same as when you try on the clothes. You're literally standing on the platform of your mind, and your mind is thinking, well, if I was a fireman, I'd probably get tired of that. If I was this, if I was that, if I had this kind of money, I could go here. And your mind is creating these different thought patterns, and you're trying to see how they make you feel. And that's how you're trying to make decisions. And every single thing you're doing is an attempt to raise your energy. If you think something will bring your energy down, you don't want to do it. So what yoga says is, instead of just running out there willy-nilly, randomly trying to find things that will raise your energy, why don't we find out about the energy? What is it? Why do some things make it raise? Because I'll tell you what got you high yesterday might bring you down today. You really like somebody. Oh my God, you're so turned on by him. You can't wait to see them. Whenever you think about them, you get all excited. And then you read something in the paper about them. At least you think it's about them. Let's see how you feel now. It doesn't raise the energy at all. In fact, you get all weird when they come to see you. And then you find out it wasn't them. Oh, then you get all kinds of energy again. What's going on? Either the person is emanating tremendous energy or they're not. And the answer is, you got to go deeper than that. So yoga is about, where does the energy come from? What is it? And guess what? How do you get more? It really is. It's about how do you get more? How much more? as much as could possibly be had till it blows you away. Whoa, that sounds like that would be fun. I'm telling you, that's what yoga is about. Yoga is about that inner flow of energy. All right, so the first question becomes, where does it come from? Does it come from outside or does it come from inside? And I shouldn't have to spend much time talking about that because you know you experience it inside. And when something happens that you open, that's the key word, when you open to something, you're receptive to something, you will feel energy follow up through that. And when you're close to something, you will feel no energy. And it's not that the thing is emanating energy or not. That somebody next to you is getting turned on by the same thing that turns you off. Yesterday you were turned on by the thing that turns you off today. A thing doesn't emanate energy. It does. It has an aura, it has a vibration, but that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about your energy and what it does inside. And so what you're going to find out, to really do the Cliff Note version, is that you're doing this. That's a nice thing to find out. Why? Because then you're empowered. I'm telling you, love is inside of you. When you feel love, it's inside of you. It does not need another person. It does not need you to find your soulmate. It does not need anything. It is inside of you. It is always inside of you. It is never not inside of you. If you close so you can't experience it, that's not saying it's not there. If a cloud comes across the sun so it gets dark, the sun is still out there shining. And you start to catch on that that's what's happening. Your mind and your heart have the ability to open and close. Have you noticed that? Your mind can get negative, can't it? How much energy do you feel when your mind's all negative? I don't like this. I don't want to do this. Oh my God, I'm scared. No, I don't want to do it. You feeling a lot of juice, good juice, feeling really high? No. And your mind's saying, oh God, I can't wait to go. I'm so excited about this. It is the fact that your mind is saying, I'm excited about this, that you feel the energy. If your mind said, I'm not excited about this, you wouldn't. It's not about the thing. It's about the thing to the extent that a thing can make your mind say, I'm excited about this. Or a thing can make your mind say, I don't like this. And that becomes the clue. The clue becomes, if you get it real out on the table to start with, you have infinite energy inside of you, tremendous energy inside of you. Take the highest you've ever felt. The highest you've ever felt, no matter what happened. Perfect love, this, that, anything, graduating, parents being proud, everything in the whole world. You played the band and they all clapped and you got a record deal. I don't care. That moment where you are peaked, Maslow calls it a peak experience, where you are peaked. I'm telling you, that is going on inside of you every single second. It is never not going on inside of you. Just like the sun is always shining. There is no day, there is no night. Just go out and check it out. That sun has been out there for 5 billion years, just shining, man. The fact that you turn away from it, the fact that you do all kinds of things, causes the appearance that the sun is coming and going. It is exactly the same inside of you. That energy is always there, but you are opening and closing to it. And when you open, the energy flows, and then you're silly enough to say, oh, that's what I want. What? The thing that stimulated your open. What the yogi says is, I don't understand. If it's inside of you, why do you need something outside of you to open you so you can experience what's inside of you? And that, by the way, sounded weird. That is the essence of the science of yoga. If it is inside of you, why do you need something outside of you to make it so you can experience what's inside of you? And the answer is, believe it or not, you don't. You have the ability to tune into that energy anytime you want, period. And I said, take the highest experience you've ever had. Trouble is, we're not very high. How high is high? Whoa. It's really high. Higher than you can even imagine. All right? That's what's inside of you, period. I like to use what I consider the ultimate yogi to say the words. His name was Jesus. As I sit by the throne of my Father, so you shall sit by my side. As I do these things, you should do these things and even greater things. I'm a nice Jewish yogi, but I like what Christ said. Why? Because he's teaching the same thing. Like when he said, man does not live by bread alone, but by every word that leaveth the mouth of the Father. That is equivalent to what we have just been saying. That you don't have to get high because of what's happening outside. It doesn't have to be a certain way outside that comes in and feeds you. You have energy inside of you that comes from a very deep place. You'll understand eventually when I'm finished. In fact, literally, he was, talking poetically, but every word to leave with the mouth of the Father, you're going to find out that the source of that energy is very, very deep. And that's exactly what he's talking about, is you don't have to get your juice from outside. There is juice going on inside. Isn't that nice? It's nice to have a good testimonial. And Buddha taught the same exact thing, and so does the Kabbalah, and so does the Gita, et cetera, et cetera. It's all the same. There is inside of you a tremendous wealth of Shakti, Chi, energy, spirit, call whatever you want. Why don't I feel it then? First of all, do you want it? Yes, every one of you want it. Do you understand that? Would you rather be high or depressed? Come on, multiple choice. Okay, I don't have to teach anything. The question is, why am I not feeling it all the time? Because you close. What do you mean I close? I'm not purposely closing. Your mind closes, and it becomes non-receptive, becomes defensive, becomes protective, as a closing is. If I'm not comfortable with who's outside my house, or who I think might be outside my house, I close the blinds. Because I'm not comfortable, I don't want to look. What did I just do? I close off the light. Because I'm protecting myself. When you protect yourself internally, both mentally and emotionally, your heart and your mind, you are closing off the light. And it gets dark in there. You know that. So the energy's always there. You are closing the mind and the heart, or they close by themselves. We'll talk about that in a minute, because you're not purposely doing it, but they do tend to close, and sometimes they open. So they can open and they can close. And so now the question becomes, which way would you rather have them be? If you want the energy, I'm telling you, you have to open. There is no energy without open. So now the question becomes, how do I open? I have found that the best way to understand how to open is to find out why you close. Why is it that some things outside of me open me, and some things outside of me close me? It does happen, doesn't it? And I am wise enough to know that it's not the same for you. Every one of us open and close over different things. But when it's said and done, we feel the same energy. So I've studied this my whole life, where I watched it carefully inside. And it's very obvious what's happening. It's very, very obvious why we open and close. And it's very obvious why each one of us open and close over different things. And it's very obvious why what we open and close over changes over time. I'll give you an example, just a very simple example. You're driving down the street on your way to work. You've driven down the street thousands of times coming and going from work, and you cross an intersection of 39th and 23rd, whatever. And you go by there, and you do it all the time. And this time you go by and somebody runs the light on the opposite direction, and you ram on your brakes, you skid all around, but you don't get in an accident. You handled the whole thing well, and you sit on the side of the road. Whew, well, that was close. All right, there you are. Very good. It's over. Well, it's not exactly over. Why? I'm going to watch carefully when you go to work the next day, and you start to approach that intersection. Which one do you want to tell me nothing happens? Inside of you. The heart doesn't speed up a little bit. You don't start getting a little nervous. Some negativity starts inside the mind. Oh my God, it's such a dangerous intersection. Be careful. There could be somebody running a light. That intersection is no different than it was the day before, or the day before, or the thousand times you drove through it. It's no more dangerous. It's no more anything. But because that event took place, it left an impression inside of you. It left an impression in your mind, mentally and emotionally within your heart. The two are get affected together. So now, when you have an experience of this exact same intersection you've driven through 1,000 times, something different happens inside of you. That's why you open and close. And that's why every one of you open and close over different things. Because you've all had different impressions. You've all had different experiences in your life, and you have stored those experiences inside of you. And so now what happens is, you were married to someone named Ben. It was not such a good marriage. That's why you got divorced 10 years ago. And you're at a party, and people are talking, and all of a sudden somebody yells across the room, "Ben, is Ben here?" And you start to freak. 10 years later. You've seen this guy for 10 years. What does it mean? It means you have stored the impressions, particularly the negative ones. You have stored the uncomfortable experiences that you've had inside of your mind and your heart. Fair enough? And now when situations happen outside, they stimulate either negative or positive past experiences. They stimulate those experiences, and all of a sudden your mind is either receptive, because Ben was, when you were in the 8th grade, you had a nice experience with this person, and basically they moved away before you ever had an argument, and you always had a thing for Ben's, right? So now when you're at the party, somebody yells out, "Ben," your heart goes, "Woo!" little butterflies. Woo. So instead of rocks and cold stuff, it's warm and little butterflies. That's ridiculous. It's 10 years later, it's not the same bend. It doesn't matter. That's inside of you. That's why you open and close. I'm going to go very slow here. Don't you doubt that for 1 second. The reason you like things is that they stimulate nice experiences that you have stored inside of you. You associate, free association. The reason you don't like things is because they stimulate uncomfortable things inside of you. And you want to be open. You want to feel the energy. So if something takes the energy away, you say, I'm not comfortable here anymore. I wanted to go to the party, but now I don't want to be here. I want to go home. In other words, something got stimulated inside that caused an experience of closing. Therefore, you start getting tired, you start feeling depressed, you start feeling uncomfortable, and that's it. You're not doing that. It's happening to you. But it's happening to you because this stuff is stored inside. Can I go on? Does everyone understand that? I'd love to talk about it until you felt it's enough already. Because it's your whole life. Because now what is going to happen, because that stuff is in there, and because you deep inside really like good energy and you don't like the negative darkness. Therefore, if something happens outside and it happens to stimulate darkness, it is like steering you away or towards something. You're not living your life. It's living your life. Those patterns are determined, like a little robot, remote control robot. You are being reactive to whatever is happening outside because of what is hitting inside because of the past experience you had. So now you're attracted to something, you're repulsed by something else, and you think that's natural. And people tell you, follow your passion. And I'm not telling you not to. I never talk. I think every single thing you do to try to raise yourself is wonderful. But if you come out here, I'm going to teach you yoga. And yoga is the deepest thing you can learn. But that doesn't mean you don't do other things, all right? But when they tell you follow your passion, I'll tell you what I agree. Follow your passion instead of follow your depression. I would rather have you try to find something that turns you on than give up and fall into depression. But I'd rather ask you, why doesn't everything turn you on? Wouldn't it be more fun if everything turns you on? It's my time to do the dishes? Oh, please, I want to do them. No, I want to do it alone. I love doing the dishes. Wouldn't that be neat? I get to go to work. It's time to go to work. I can't wait to get there. It's time to go home. I can't wait to go home. Wouldn't it be fun to be turned on by everything? Wouldn't it be fun to look into the future and say, boy, is this going to be fun? Well, what's going to happen? I don't know, and that's exciting. It's been fun so far, so it's bound to be fun. I can't wait. Did you know you can live like that? No one would dare to tell you. They tell you have to find out what works for you and what turns you on, and then you have to make sure it's exactly what you want it to be, and the boss has to be exactly the one who says to you what you want to hear, and your coworkers have to be exactly right, and the job you're doing, you have to get raised at a certain speed, or otherwise there's some glass ceiling or something's going on around here, and you ain't going to enjoy the thing, are you? Okay? I just asked you a simple question. Which would you rather do? Be like that, or just be all excited and enthused and enjoy every single thing you're doing? And what you say is, of course I want to have a good time. Of course I want to have a high life. But you are so lost, not you, humankind, is so lost into the notion that I can't feel good inside unless certain things happen outside. And I'm telling you that is because of these patterns you've stored inside. Now, you see that, but why all of a sudden you decide you want to be, a stockbroker or a woman's executive? Well, because you watched some movie and it turned you on and it got you excited when you were 12. You hear me? I mean, we are so lost that when you're 8 years old, you watch some Disney movie or something, and there's some prince, and his name is Roloff, something like that. And you dream of marrying Roloff, all right, from Germany or something, I don't know, all right? And he's got drives a white knight horses and so on. And then all of a sudden, somebody fixes you up on a date with a guy named Roloff, and he drives a white Mustang. That's like white horses, right? Well, this guy's got it made, all right? Your mind is going to say, maybe this is him. I like the most the sitter says, oh my God, this is exactly what I've dreamt of, I've thought of since I was 6. When you were 6, you didn't know what the heck was going on, all right? You didn't have any idea. You really want your 6-year-old mind and heart to run your life now? And you think that's romantic. I've dreamt of something like this since I was 6 years old. Whoa. Are you listening to me? All right? We are so lost. So what is happening, these impressions get stored inside. There are some positive ones. Let's be honest. Let's be fair. There are positive experiences we had. You went to Hawaii. It was a wonderful experience. You went with your parents. Oh, my God, Hawaii's up there somewhere, right? And basically, you just got this impression inside. You got this thing stored inside. Therefore, you want everything to be like that. You go to a restaurant. You have a wonderful meal. Oh, my God, it was like a surprise. Who thought there's a new restaurant? Who thought like that? It was just perfect. The espresso was wonderful, and the server was wonderful, and the music they were playing. Oh, my God, it's like, wow. It was like from heaven. God did it. Don't go back. I highly advise not going back. Because there's no way in the world that it's going to be the same. It's going to be a different chef, a different special, a different night, different music, different everything, isn't it? And your mind is going to go in there and give you trouble. It's going to close. It's going to say, well, wait a minute, the portions were bigger last time. And if you go back, don't bring your friends with you after you told them how good it was. You will feel defensive well, it wasn't usually like that. And the way it was, if you're not careful, your entire life is run by these past impressions, positive and negative, that got stored inside of you. And so if something is happening outside stimulates a positive impression, your energy opens up, you feel good, and you want it, and you run after it, and you cling to it, and you grab it. If it stimulates a negative thing, you run away from it. And so you're just reacting based on these silly past experiences. Why are they silly? Because at the same moment you were having that experience, how many other experiences were there going on in the world that you weren't having? 700 billion, zillion, quillion. And it just happened to be that was the one that was in front of you. And by the way, the same one here, you're going to have an experience that you stored really, really nice. Now I'm going to go back in time. I have a time machine to prove this. I'm going to go back in time, and just before you have that exact experience, I'm going to send you a text. Blah, blah, blah. Your boyfriend left you with your best girlfriend. That's what the text says. Bye-bye. Okay? Now have the experience that you found so wonderful before I took you back in the time machine. Nice experience? No. So it's not just the experience. It's your state when you have the experience. And guess what? You store all of it, don't you? So I'm telling you, it's like throw the dice. It's ridiculous that we store these things inside of ourselves. So if you do let them get stored inside with all these positive and negative energies, mostly negative, why are there more negative experiences than positive ones? Is it true that the world's really negative? Because I tell you, guarantee you got more. There's more stuff in there that happens out here, makes you get scared and uncomfortable and self-conscious and embarrassed, than there is really turns you on. Take a look as you go through your day. If the driver in front of you is not driving the way you want, if somebody beeps at you, if you drop some ketchup on your pants. Here, ready? Let's say you go to the restaurant and you eat out for lunch, and you drop ketchup on your pants, and you're just a real self-conscious type person, all right? And you go back, and you don't know what to do with it, you're embarrassed, and you can't wait to get home and change your pants. Well, that's a negative experience, all right? If you don't drop ketchup on your pants, is that a positive experience? No. So this is the way I explain why, and there is way more negative. I know you never thought about it. You don't like to think you're negative. I'm not saying you're negative. I'm saying what's stored in there is way more negative past experiences than positive ones. Why? Because more of the world is positive or negative? The world is neither positive nor negative. It's just there. Wow, I can give you a billion examples. The weather. What is the probability the weather will be exactly the way you want? Very, very slight. If it is the way, I agree. You're, oh my God, it's a perfect day. It's divine intervention. What if it isn't? How come I never get it the way I want? This is ridiculous. It's raining. I was supposed to go sailing. You're making it so the odds of it being positive are almost zero. And that's why it happens very infrequently. And the odds of it not matching what you want are about 700 billion to 1. So I'm not saying you're negative. I'm just saying the game you're playing, you don't stand a chance. But you must admit, if you want something to be a certain way and it's not that way, that's a negative experience, isn't it? There's only a particular way you want it to be. It could be any way. But those ways are negative because it's not the way you want. Therefore, you have all this negativity you've stored inside. So now let's get back to yoga. What the yogis are teaching you and what I'm teaching you, and you're going to see it yourself if you pay attention, is the reason you cannot access the beautiful energy that's inside of you is because this stuff is in the way. You've stored all this past stuff inside. It's filled with power and problems and fears and all this junk that you stored inside. And now only if the event outside hits it just right so that it creates an openness because it's positive, it's clear, it's something you like, then the energy can flow in. And that's why you feel good energy when things are the way that you want. But things aren't the way that you want. So you feel bad. You feel anywhere from no energy to really bad energy. And that this stuff you stored inside is blocking your energy flow. That's what it's all about. Now, that's yoga. You know, psychology teaches the same thing. You know, in classical Freudian therapy, what do they try to do? They try to find out what's stored in there. How's that? Your mother? I can't imitate German. I like Freud. And what with your mother? What was that like? Why are you crying when I say father? Uncle? Which uncle? They're trying to probe in there. This is so neat to talk about. I said I was talking about yoga. Am I talking about yoga? Or am I talking about life? They probe in there to find out what you got stored in there, don't they? And what happens if they start hitting that stuff? All kinds of emotions come up. And why? Because it's blocking your energy. And in classical Freudian therapy, if you have what's called a breakthrough, what does that mean? You actually touch the stuff, you deal with it, you confront it directly. It's yes, I suppressed it, but now it's coming back up, and you deal with it and you let it go. Oh my God, you may not sleep for 2 weeks. All this energy's rushing up inside of you. It's like you say, oh, this therapist changed my life. I'm so happy now. I was so depressed. It could change just like that because of what I'm telling you. Yoga taught this thousands and thousands of years BC. It's because the stuff that you stored in there is actually stored in your energy system. And it is blocking your energy, like the Hoover Dam blocks the flow of the Colorado River. There's still plenty of water, but it's dammed up. So when you store these negative and positive, really, it's like we call them samskaras, impressions. Samskaras is what the Sanskrit word for these packets of energy that you stored inside because you were comfortable with the situation. So you kept it inside of you. Now, the more you keep, the less energy can flow through. Unless the moment outside just happened to match a positive thing, then all of a sudden this nice energy comes up inside. Don't worry, it won't last. And I'm not being negative. You know it won't last. It has never lasted. You've sat there since you were little saying, oh, if only I can get this. If only I get this, I'll be fine. If only he pays attention to me. Oh, my God. No, when he pays attention to you, now you want to be asked out. Now you want to get married. Now you want to have children. It doesn't ever stop, does it? Now you're married to the guy that was in your dreams and everything, and you have the beautiful children. The house is not big enough. That is what is going to happen. Why? Because if you're getting your energy by having a positive experience stimulated, fine, it opened. There's still all this negativity in there. There's still all this fear, this insecurity. What is classically happens if somebody you really liked and never paid attention to you walks up to you and says, you know, I really love you. I was embarrassed to say it. I've never been able to say it, but I just want you to know I really love you. What's the first thought that comes to your mind? Really? What? No, I like the one better. What did you say? Right? Are you really going to be okay with that? You're really going to believe that? Your mind's going to sit there and say, careful, remember what George hurt you. He's talked like that also. Okay. It's real hard to open and stay open. Yes, there are moments that happen that stimulate you and can create an openness. But the rest of that stuff's going to close it back down, isn't it? Because you're afraid of getting hurt. You're insecure. Why are you afraid of getting hurt? If you store every single experience that was disturbing to you inside of you, what is it going to be like inside of you? Disturbed. And don't tell me you've not stored everything that anyone ever said and didn't say exactly what you want. Ooh, we get a little weird in there, doesn't it? All right? And does the stuff stay in there quietly? No. It comes back up all by itself, doesn't it? You're taking a shower, it's thinking about what happened 10 years ago that bothered you. This is what yoga is teaching you. It's teaching you that the energy is in there. It's always in there. It wants to come up. It wants to flow. Just like your physical body has an immune system that's brilliant, isn't it? Come on, you studied enough medicine to understand that. White corpuscles, and they go to war with all the bacteria and lymph system. And oh my God, it's a pretty amazing system in there that's trying to purify the body so that it can be healthy. Your mind and your heart, we call your energy bodies, are way more intelligent and subtle than your physical body. They also do not want this garbage inside. That's why it comes up in your dreams. That's why it comes up when you're driving your car. That's why it comes up when you're taking a shower. Just watch your mind, and you're going to see all this stuff coming up. All the worries. Worries I don't want to have. Why? Because it happened before. And it just keeps pushing itself up. And what do? You keep pushing it back down. You know that darn well. Somebody says something that makes you sensitive. You say, I told you I don't like to talk about that. Give me a minute. Okay, I'm okay now. I'm back to myself. Whoa, what'd you do with it? You worked it through? Not a chance in the world. You don't work it through. You don't even want to work it through. You don't want it in your face. You push it back down and get it the heck out of your way. I'm telling you, you are pushing it on top of that energy flow. I would love you to see that visualization. You have this beautiful energy inside. You have this stuff you can't deal with. You couldn't deal with it when it happened. You can't deal with it now, can you? All right? You literally have problems because your parents got divorced when you were 5. When you hear the word divorce, you get a little nervous. You sweat a little bit. So you catch on that you have done this. You have stored this stuff inside of you, and now you are subject to it being stimulated by the world unfolding in front of you. You can't live a normal life. You have to try to manipulate and control the world around you so that it ends up being as much as possible that which doesn't hit your bad stuff and does hit your good stuff. And that's what you go to war with life, what it boils down to. And that is how most people live their entire life. And your whole society encourages you to do so. Go out there, decide what you want, and make it happen. Yoga does not teach that. Yoga teaches, man, you're sitting on a planet spread in the middle of nowheres. It should be fun. It's a pretty exciting planet. There are tigers and lions and orchids and people and, oh my God, you won the jackpot. I told you once, Earth is God's idea of Disney World. I'll make one little ball of dirt and I'll put everything on it. I'll put all kinds of animals and fishes and plants and people and computers and rocket ships and oh my God, wait, and I'll give them mines to play with. And oh my, it's like camp, right? It's the most exciting thing that could ever be. And you're freaking out every single minute of every single day, aren't you? Anxious, tense. Why? Because of what I just taught you. Because you stored this stuff inside, therefore your energy can't flow properly. It's supposed to be feeding you from inside. You're supposed to be filled with love and joy, the highest you've ever been, all the time. From the moment you wake up in the morning. You know how a great being wakes up in the morning? I'm back! I wonder what's going to happen today. Because you're going to have a whole bunch of presents all day. Experience after experience after experience after experience. The problem is we have so much junk stored inside that the vast majority of those experiences are not going to match what we want to happen. And some of them match what we don't want to happen. And I'm telling you what you want to happen. How would you know what you want to happen? You only know what you've already experienced. You can't know what you don't know. So you've taken this handful of experiences you had and decided how everything should be. And now you're out there saying, I want it to be this and I don't want it to be like that. You don't know what you want. You don't know what you don't want. You just know the past experiences you've had. Have you ever had an experience that seemed to be the worst thing that ever happened, turned out to be the best thing that ever happened? People all the time write books about that stuff. Ever had an experience you thought would be the best you ever happened and it turned out not so good? If the answer was no, you'd all be in ecstasy. You've had plenty of experiences. No, you don't get higher every day. You get scareder every day because you have bad experiences. But you're not having bad experiences. You're having the experiences you don't want to have. So basically, you should be having fun, filled with energy, filled with joy, but instead you're full of all these past experiences that you stored inside that have all these trigger points. And if somebody stands too close to you, or an extra person gets in the elevator, or this happens or that happens, or it rains when you're outside, how many things does it take to get you upset? Doesn't take much, does it? So there's all these things that don't match what you decided you wanted. And so what yoga says is maybe instead of deciding what you want based on these past impressions and realizing you can't get your energy unless that happens, and then going out there and doing anything by hook or by crook, whatever, just try to manipulate and control everything to make it be the way you want and get tired and stressed out. A lot of stress in it. There's no stress. There's no stress on the planet Earth. It is a planet spinning around space. It's been doing it for 4.5 billion years. Every day it rotates on its axis, and every year it rotates around its star. And then there's all these events unfolding all over the planet. Isn't it funny you're not stressed out by the ones that aren't in front of you? At any given moment, there's something in front of you, isn't it? How many things are happening that aren't in front of you? 700 billion zillion quillion. They're stressing you out? No. Why is it that only what's exactly in front of you is stressing you out? Because you have built this stuff inside. You got serious problems in there because you stored all your problems. That's what's going to happen if you store all your problems in there. You're going to have serious problems in there. And you're scared to death that something outside is going to go, boo, and touch one of those things, aren't you? And if it touches one of those, it gets all weird in there, and I don't like it. And you're afraid that that which might happen outside, because you did once before, you saw it in a movie or whatever, so we told you about it, that goes, hi, woo, and ooh, love, joy, happiness, wow. You're afraid that won't happen, aren't you? You're afraid your ship won't come in. And because of that, you're stressed out. Because now you got to try and make the moments outside of you be the way you want them to be and not be the way you don't want them to be. Instead of enjoying your journey I used to use the example, I'm going to take you out to California to Fisherman's Wharf, and you can look out over the Pacific Ocean. That's like one of those beautiful sights. There's whales and seals and different things, sea lions. And you go out there, and sometimes the water's choppy, sometimes it's even, sometimes there's surfers, whatever it is, okay? And they're going to take you out there, and you say, well, what am I supposed to do? You're supposed to enjoy it. Well, but I saw a travel brochure, and it said sometimes there are whales that jump up and spout, and I don't see them. I'm not enjoying that. I would enjoy it if the whales were there. I heard that there were sometimes sea lions, and they play, and they do different things, and I don't see them, right? And plus, I heard sometimes out there in California, the waves get pretty big, and the surfers really like them. There's these little baby waves. I see those in Florida. Having a good time? No. Why would you not have a good time looking at life? Because I have a way that I've decided I want it to be. And unless it's exactly that way, I'm not having a good time. This is what I'm teaching you. It is because you stored these past things and shoved them on top of your energy flow, you are now conditional. You're a conditional being. Only if the things that are unfolding and coming in through your senses match the positive things that you stored can you feel open and positive. And if they match the negative things you stored, you're freaked. You're having a terrible time. Did that describe it? Okay? Well, you're not going to do very well at this thing called life. So what does yoga teach? It teaches the most rational thing that could possibly exist. It sits there and says, if you are blocking the energy flow, why don't you learn to not block the energy? And I'm guaranteeing you, to the extent that you learn to not block the energy, there's going to be more energy. And then there's going to be more energy. There's going to be more energy. And you start to get turned on. A lot of energy in here. I like it. I think I'm going to learn to not block it more. How willing are you to not block it? Well, I was a little bit willing before I noticed how nice it is when it's in there. Now I'm really willing. How willing? I want to see you. Come visit me when the answer is, whatever it is, I'm going for the ride. I am about this juice. I want to live the rest of my life. I don't care how old you are. There is no difference, none, between the energy inside of a 90-year-old person and inside of a 10-year-old kid. It's the garbage you've collected between 10 and 90 that makes it seem like, oh, I ain't got no energy left. I wish I could be a kid, right? You have just as much energy. Energy doesn't get old. Energy's energy. It's always active, always there. But if you block it, you're not going to feel it. So you realize, I want this energy. At what price? Are you willing to let go of the garbage that you have stored inside of you over the course of your life in order to come back in harmony with your energy flow? So the question becomes, how do I do this? How do I live the deeper life? So it's called the deeper life, where I am trying to release the energy from inside, because that's where it got blocked, instead of doing it indirectly by trying to make the world be the way that it hits my stuff nicely. It never hits my stuff not nicely. So it's very simple. You just decide, I want to do that. That's what you decide. I understand it. I want to do that. So I always encourage you to start with the simple stuff. Don't start with getting rid of the parent got divorced and it's been in there bothering for 30 years. And don't start with Ben, the ex-husband. No. Don't do that. Thank God. See, I'll give you a reprieve. No, I don't care about any of that. What I care about is you're parked at a traffic light and you're playing with your smartphone and you don't pay attention to light change. And the person behind you goes, meh. How you doing? Do you go anywhere from you're embarrassed to, what's wrong with these people? They're in such a rush that I wasn't even 2 seconds. You're either embarrassed or defensive. And then you drive a little bit, and then the next light comes up, and that person starts to pull up next to you. I used to like to watch Mickey when that would happen, right? Like he'd try to stop before the light so he wouldn't be there, and he would never look over there. In other words, it bothered you. Like you might tell somebody later to try and make yourself feel better. God, these people are in such a rush all the time. It's just man, tell everybody. You might the whole day tell people the story how the guy beeped at you. You sit on planet Earth, someone went beep, you couldn't handle it. Those are the moments I want. Don't worry about the big ones. I want these tiny little things, I call them low-hanging fruit. Of what benefit is it to be bothered by beep? None. Well, then let it go. What do you mean? It doesn't have to be stored inside? Of course it doesn't have to be stored inside. It gets stored inside because you're resisting it. If you experience it, it passes through. I want it to be, so if you're parked at the light and he doesn't beep, or he does beep, it's the same to you. It doesn't do anything. Nothing. No. What happens when they beep? Beep. Sorry. That's the end of it. You smile next time you see him. Nothing. Doesn't leave anything. You do not have to leave these things stored inside. Do you understand that? It is because you are resisting them. You're suppressing them. You're repressing them. You're pushing them away. They stay inside. If you don't do that and you work with yourself to open, remember it's about opening. If you will stay open, it will pass through and it won't leave an impression inside of you. And you don't make a thing out of it. You just let it go. And you work with yourself. And most of you would sit here and say, I don't know how to do that. Maybe you can do that, but I don't know how to do that. Well, then learn. Learn to do this. Learn to let go. It is the most important thing you will ever learn in your entire life, because the stuff you stored inside of you is what's keeping you from your energy flow. And if you cannot do that, you will get your energy flow back. And then what happens if you learn to do it about the beep, if you learn to do it about the fact that someone's driving slower in front of you than you want to go and you can't pass them, so you're causing all this commotion inside yourself, what is that doing for you? What is the benefit of that? The answer is nothing. Then don't do it. How? Learn. I'm challenging you. You've learned all kinds of things in your life, haven't you? Learn this. Learn how to relax. Just relax when it starts doing that. And you're going to find out that you can let go. You can little by little, you learn to let go. And what happens is if you learn to let go of the driver in front of you, if you learn to let go of the fact that the weather's not the way you want, if you learn to let go of the fact that somebody beeped, if you learn to let go that somebody walked away when you were trying to talk to them, they were busy with something, you learn to let go that you were on the phone with somebody and you weren't finished with whatever you wanted to say, and they said, I got to go. And they hung up. Oh my God. You can't handle that, can you? I mean, that's like, I don't want to talk to him ever again. Come on. You don't want that stuff in there, do you? Give a guy a break, all right? Give yourself a break. Let it go. If the mind starts bothering you, this is where I draw a line. If my mind starts bothering about something that's not happening, that's acceptable. If you had a conversation with somebody and it's over, and your mind starts saying, oh my God, I should have said this. I forgot, oh God, that was so stupid. I hope that wasn't a mistake. Should I call him back? No, don't call him. And that garbage is going on in there. The conversation's not even happening anymore. It's over. Let it be over. Do the work inside. Little by little, learn to release these things. And what will happen is you will build your inner strength that learns how to let go. The next thing you know, all by itself, something will come up from the past that used to bother you, and you used to get all weird and moody. That's what all your moods are, all this stuff coming up. And you get all moody, and the next thing you know, the exact same techniques that you use to let go of the beeper guy, and to let go of the weather, and to let go of the car driving too slow, you'll realize, I can do this. I can let this go. I can just say, yeah, that happened 5 years ago. Gee, okay, bye-bye. Bye-bye. I don't want you in there. You really want it in there, blocking your energy? What's the purpose? What's the benefit? None. And so you have now built your core strength, your inner core strength, and you start letting go. And that'll happen with the next thing, then the next thing. And eventually you'll realize, I'm way happier than I used to be. For no reason at all. I like it when you see somebody say, you look much happier. What happened? Nothing. I don't know. Oh, that's great. Because if you don't have a reason, it can't go away. And then you're going to get higher and higher, and eventually you're going to feel some real energy flow. You just minding your own business, sitting alone, and all of a sudden these waves of joy, just waves of ecstasy, start pouring up inside of you. What is that? That's the energy I was talking to you about. And it gets very high and very beautiful. And then a bird chirps and you get blown away. And then a baby laughs and you get blown away. And all of a sudden you're getting blown away. Why? Because you're more open. You start having these vacations from yourself. Because there's this beautiful energy ready to flow inside. And it is unconditional. It's not based on what's happening outside. It's because you open the flow inside. You open the channels so it can flow. It's so nice, and as I started to tell you earlier, it's so nice that you start saying, if this is what I get from handling the weather and the beep and, the driver in front of me, what if I let go of a lot of stuff that's in there when it comes up? Right? And you start saying, what if I let go of everything that's in there? What would that be like? Now you're talking high. You understand that? You're talking about what it means to get really high. And you start saying, well, why would I not? Would I want to trade off this beautiful energy because of what somebody did to me 10 years ago? And you start saying, I don't want this inside of me. And you just decide, I want out. I want out. Out of what? Not out of my marriage, not out of school, not out of stop the world. I want to get. I want out of this. I don't want to walk around with this stuff inside of me. How about you? I want to walk around with that beautiful love and joy and inspiration and high stuff flowing inside of me all the time. Therefore, I have to be willing to release the blockages that are doing that. And that is the path of yoga. That is the path of spirituality. That is the true path. It is a path that Christ taught, Buddha taught, they all taught it, all right? It's about how you're willing. Christ said you must die to be reborn. It means what we're just talking about. You have to be willing to let go of the part of you which you're now identified with, your little sensitivities, your likes, your dislikes. We call it your personal self. You got one of those? You have to be willing to let go of that stuff so that you can be who you are. So you can come back into that beautiful spiritual energy, that beautiful energy that flows inside. So it's pretty neat, all right? Question is, do you want to do it? Right now, I know you can't do it. I know you will freak if this stuff starts coming up. That's why I'm saying, first, you don't walk into the gym and try to lift 300 pounds. You start with 50, right? And you work your way up. You build your muscles. You build yourself, right? You work out. I call it working in. You come inside and you start little by little handling the small, just do the small ones, the small discomforts that you used to freak out over. Just relax. Relax. There's other techniques. Now you understand. Yoga and others, not just yoga, the asanas are a way of relaxing. They're a way of What happens if you're doing, some of you have done yoga, you're doing yoga, you get to an asana, and it's tense. It starts to hurt a little bit. What does the teacher tell you? Relax into it. Relax into it. I'm telling you the same thing. Somebody's driving weird in front of you, you're uncomfortable, you're in a rush, relax. But it's uncomfortable. Relax. Relax through it. Relax through it, because when you're relaxing, you're not resisting. And when you're not resisting, it has an opportunity of releasing. Relaxation is non-resistance, is releasing. And all of a sudden, all by itself, this stuff is going. Right? That's why you get high in a yoga class, right? Because instead of resisting your resistance, you're learning to open and relax. So you don't just get exercise in yoga class. People say it all the time. All the Americans are realizing, right? People are catching on all over the world. Hey, I get high. I feel different when I walk out of here. It's not just working out, right? Because it's releasing yourself. You're opening. I'm begging you to do it inside. It's something you do 24/7, not on a yoga mat. You do it every moment of your life, every second of your life. You want to get high? There's two ways to do it. One, I don't want to suffer, because you are suffering. I don't want the tensions and fears and anxieties. I want to have fun with my life. I don't want you to have fun with yours. All right? Okay, you got to let it go. Now you understand. You have no excuse anymore. Now you know why that's in there. Of course you're tense. You're afraid that something will happen that doesn't hit you right. That's rational, right? You're afraid that what you want won't happen. So you can end up being scared all the time, like everybody you know. You understand that? Your parents, your grandparents. So I don't want you to be like that. You can be filled with joy and filled with love. And when you are filled with joy and love, you shine it and spread it everywhere. You help everybody without even opening your mouth. So this becomes your choice. Am I going to continue deciding that everything needs to be the way I want and is never the way I don't want, and I will kill myself trying to make it be that way every second of my life? Or am I going to let go of the part of me that I stored inside that makes me so fussy, that makes me not enjoy the different things that are happening unless they're exactly matching or not matching what I stored, and you just start letting go. It's called spiritual purification. You just keep letting go, letting go. Like I say, there are many techniques to do it. People teach you positive affirmation. That is not giving into the negativity, trying to build a more positive so you can feel more comfortable letting the stuff go. There's mantra. I've been teaching this lately. Right? Teach your mind to say something over and over again, and then when the mind starts getting negative, hang out with what you taught. God, God, God. All right? That's what I used to use. Just God. Just say God. Why not? It doesn't have to be Sanskrit. But it can be anything. I told you, if you're not into any of this stuff, just sit there and say, I can handle this. I can handle this. Wouldn't it be nice if your mind said to everything that happened, I can handle this? Who would want to pay for that kind of mind? What do you pay for that one? I'll trade yours in. So that anything that happens to you, anything, everything, the first thing it says, I can handle this. I'll be okay with this. Oh, I like that. Train it to say it. It's your mind. And you just work your way out. But in the end, I always have to teach you the highest thing, and the only one that in the end is going to take you there, is relaxation. Can you in there that is noticing it's getting weird, relax? Relax. Then you give it the room to release. It's weird because it's blocked. If you can release the blockage, that which started off as anxiety or self-conscious or anger, I'm telling you, it transmutes, and you feel the energy behind it, and it becomes ecstasy. It becomes beauty. Everything is beautiful. Even sorrow is beautiful, right? It has a beauty to it. People, I always say, the funeral march, dun, 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 right? Chopin wrote it. It took one of the greatest composers that we've ever known to capture the spirit of the sadness of a funeral. And it's beautiful in its own way, isn't it? It's a beautiful capture. Doesn't mean you don't feel sad. It means there's beauty in the sadness. Do you understand that? There's beauty in everything if energy comes up inside of you. There's nothing is beautiful if the energy doesn't come up inside. So that's my discussion of yoga. It's a little different than the asanas and pranayamas and all that stuff. But those are wonderful things, as are all the other. There's lots of techniques. If you're doing something to cleanse your stuff inside, to build your strength so you can let go of this stuff, I'm in favor of it. And it doesn't take long. I'm telling you, if you're sincere about it, you're going to start to feel energy pretty quickly. And then you follow that energy, right? And real yoga, what does yoga mean? The word yoga in Sanskrit means union, because Christ said, man is not lived by bread alone, but every word that leaveth the mouth of the Father. But we talked about that energy being the word. Where does it come from? Well, someday when you get enough energy flowing inside of you to where you're not struggling with yourself, it's going to dawn on you that this is really beautiful. Where's it coming from? I know it don't come from outside. Where's it coming from? And you start following it back to its source. And it comes from the source. And that's what you're going to find out. Right? And that's what God, so he said, but every word that leaveth the mouth of the Father, not neat, is literally coming from a very high place. And you can return there. You can explore that. Very good. Thank you for being interested in these things. Jai Gurudev.